my name is Vina, aka Miss WC Reader, and welcome back to my channel. So today I wanted to talk about Bad Witches. This is by H.B. Akumiah, and I would best describe this one as like Charmed meets Sex in the City, but with black witches. I think that fully just really does encompass the vibes that you're going to get going into this book. Heavy on the Sex in the City vibes. So in Bad Witches, we follow three witches who on their 22nd birthday, they're in a bar, they're having a good time, their powers get activated, and wild things start happening. So they keep in touch via group text as they start to discover more and more about their powers. Like a lot of things are accidentally kind of happening to them. And then they're getting sanctioned for the bad magic they're using by this mysterious witches council. Now, elsewhere, in what's called the witches sphere, you have this researcher named Nadia. There is this ongoing crisis called the Tippet crisis, where witches have been giving birth to regular human babies as opposed to witches, and suddenly she's starting to see witch babies being born again, and she starts piecing together things and realizing it has to do with these women who just got their powers activated. Now, I do love hair and makeup, as you guys know, so I did initially love like all the descriptions about that, like new weaves, like new palettes, like fun designer clothes. But after a while, I feel like the author just leaned too heavily into that, and we got more descriptions of what they looked like versus the magic. Like I wanted to know more about like why their powers got activated so late in life, and more about this entire magical realm, because while we got sprinkles of Nadia, I wanted just more of her. And we're following four POV characters, so it was kind of hard to keep them straight sometimes. Like, one of the girls is a teacher who loves crafting, and she runs her own Instagram, and like I thought that was pretty cool. And then we have this character who is a former child star, and she's currently navigating college, but at the same time she still has one foot in the industry, and they want her to come back and dominate. And then one of the characters is a public relations assistant who works within the fashion industry. I feel at times the author got a little bit distracted and was throwing in a lot of pop cultural references that were really irrelevant to the current situations. Like she was name dropping celebrities that we didn't need to be name dropped, and at the same time the girls are using their magic for their own personal gain, which is something I would totally do, so I can't fault them on it. But it's like they didn't really want to learn more about everything else going on around them. Now, this book does heavily lean into like that 2000s nostalgia. It even name drops Sex in the City on page, with one of these characters having her New York transplant dreams of visiting certain areas because of scenes she saw on Sex and the City. And like I said, we get references to Red Table Talk for no reason and stuff like that. I've been like trying to watch some like 2000s slash early 2010s like paranormal stuff, and it's kind of like a slippery slope because I don't feel like a lot of it was particularly written well for women, and that's a whole other conversation. But like just like a lot, like at times this book felt a little dated. We are following characters who are supposed to be 22, and the author started writing this book when she was 22 and a fresh college graduate, but now she's closer to 30, and honestly these characters should have just been 30. It would have just made more sense. Even with their slight immaturity, I think it would have fit better to have the characters be 30 something, since they're already in the throes of their careers as is. Now, like I said, with the magic, it was hard to find a balance because at times we would get these great info dumps. Like, it felt like reading a textbook of like, this happened and this happened and this happened. And like, I'm trying to take notes and make sense of it all. And like, especially if you're listening via the audiobook, that part gets a little bit confusing. And one thing Charm did well was that they had that monster of the week format. This doesn't have that monster kind of tying everything together. We do get introduced to somebody who could potentially be a monster who like causes havoc for them if there is a book 2. And I will say this ends, I felt like this kind of ended abruptly. Like, people are calling it a cliffhanger, but I don't really feel like it was a strong cliffhanger. Like, we got some information and then like something was said and then the book just kind of ends from there. So like, there was not enough like build up for me to really call it a cliffhanger. But I think the author is definitely angling for a second book. But I think like an evil force kind of working against them would have really tied things together for me, because it would have made the plot feel a little bit more purposeful. Like, there was a point in time where, like, in the middle, where it just started to feel like nothing was really happening and the plot was kind of getting lost, and I'm like, okay, we're getting all these details, but I don't feel like super connected to it. And I found my interest waning a little bit. So I think having like a driving force to tie everything together would have definitely elevated this book to like a 4.5 for me. As of right now, I'm just kind of like, yeah, this was enjoyable. Like, and I really do love the friendship between the women. I think there's a lack right now of books that focus on female friendships, even though those are some of our best and strongest relationships. So I love to see friendship take precedent here over relationships with men or women in a romantic way. Like, there was a little bit of that thrown in here, but I feel like the friendship was more important. And I do really love the idea of girlfriends gallivanting around the city. Like, one thing I love about urban fantasy is they are taking place in these big cities where you can have them live like these really sexy lives and kind of get lost in the fantasy of it all. Like I said, I just wanted just a little bit more witch stuff. What we did get, I found fascinating, so I'm interested to see like how she expands this world, especially since we have this whole witches sphere realm where only witches live, and we got to see some of it, but it was closer towards the end. I wanted to get just more of that. I would say a lot of Black authors right now are definitely leaning into like retelling their favorite stories from their childhood in the 2000s, but finding it difficult to figure out, okay, where am I going to make my story a little bit different? And beyond just having Black characters at the forefront. So hopefully she figures it out in book 2. I would say, like, if you're in the mood for like a pretty quick audiobook listen, like, you should check it out. If you want somewhat of a different fantasy, you should check it out. Like I said, it was enjoyable, but if like having nostalgia is not your thing, if like reality TV, if like designer clothes are really your thing, then you probably want to skip this one. So that's everything that I have to say about Bad Witches. I will leave the book linked in the description box because Amazon right now had a pretty good deal if you are interested in buying the paperback. And let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section below. If you like this video, make sure and hit that like button. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye!